by Jason Oakland. I'm sure Waterville Legion thought they were throwing what was a conservative high percentage pass play, but that defense has been very tough. You watch Gross roll, and really the man had a hand on the ball, so it was not the quarterback's fault that the ball deflected so high and was picked off by Oakland. A good heads-up play to rally and make the tackle before Oakland could get into the end zone, because even though they have great field position, they only have 14 seconds, and they're going to have at the outside 3 shots at getting it in the end zone. You have to wonder if Mahnomen has any kind of a kicking game, if they will bring it into play here.
They've attempted no field goals in the entire 1989 season, so they will throw. Jason Oakland to the end zone, and in for Dean Burdick, and Mahnomen scores a touchdown with 9 seconds left in the first half to take the lead 6-0.
I'll give credit to Ken Bauman and his tactic with that timeout with a little over a minute to go. I'm sure he got more pass defense in there, thinking they couldn't run the ball down the field. And that gave them another shot. The turnover put it down on the 10-yard line, and Burdick broke clear that time. He was uncovered. A defensive lapse from Waterville Legion, their first of the game, and it puts Mahnomen on the board with a chance to add the conversion.
10-yard touchdown strike from Oakland to Burdick. Here's the point after kick right through the uprights, and with 9 seconds left in the first half, it is Mahnomen 7 and Waterville Legion nothing. So they've continued to show these two teams that nobody panics in a tough situation. You just try to stand fast, but Jason Oakland and the Indians decided to get this one done not quite that quickly, but pretty quickly. He was a set play, no option here, no play action. It was 1 strike to Dean Burdick at the 1, bingo. 1 play, 10 yards, 5 seconds. Of course, it was all set up on that interception by Jason Oakland.
Well, I think John Bakken and his kids have to get as positive as they can, not try to let this throw them off as they head into the dressing room with intervention. Of course, that's barring a big kickoff return or a fumble on this kick. They know it was their mistake that led to Mahnomen's big play, and not Mahnomen necessarily outplaying it.
Low line drive. Trying to hustle and keep going. Right side, Toston Taylor, and is forced out of bounds shy of the 50-yard line with 1 second left.
Toston Taylor on the return here with just a second to play in the half. He switched it to his right hand so that he could protect it from the tacklers. Got out of bounds, did his job, and now it lets his team try to set up a miracle play here.
I'll tell you something, that's a nice play if you are a very sure-handed ball carrier, and it's a very dangerous play in any other situation. Coaches will tell you, if you played football, don't be shipped with the ball in your hands, but if you've got the good feet and the good soft hands, then you can do it. 1 second left in the first half. Waterville Legion is called timeout. Mahnomen leading 7-0. I wonder if they'll pass.
Well, you know they're going to try something, or they wouldn't have bothered to take the timeout. I'm sure Knight will figure in it some way, either as a short receiver who maybe will try to catch the ball and lateral it to somebody else, or as people were talking about him running like a deer. That's an overworked expression, but he can really run and jump, and maybe he'll get down there and try to leap up and tip it to a teammate or something of that nature. It's doubtful that Gross has the kind of arm that would enable him to throw it up there 65, 70 yards in the air.
Although Gross has been able to fire strikes this year, he's passing at a 55.4% rate. He's thrown for 1,700 yards and 29 touchdowns. The longest has been 69 yards. His arm is adequate.
The Oakland brothers are back there about 20 yards from the line of scrimmage.
What helps Chris Gross with his passing is he throws a true spiral. And here he goes back to throw. Hail Mary for Corey Knight! And it is picked off by Dean Burdick at the 20-yard line as time expires in the first half. It was all set up with Jason Oakland's interception of a pass, then his pass to Dean Burdick put Mahnomen on the board with 9 seconds left. They go to the locker room at halftime in the Class C championship game with the Mahnomen Indians 7, the Waterville Legion Buccaneers nothing, and this game was not short of a little hair-raising action in the final moments of the first half. So one of the things they like, I was talking about Chris Gross's arm and his pretty good passing percentage, mentioning that while it may not be the strongest passing arm, he throws a true spiral, and that's one of the values of Corey Knight. Basketball player, he's a good soft hands, a quick guy, 100-yard dash guy, so he can handle that spiral, which is a tough one to catch, but is very good for accuracy. Let's go down to the sidelines now. J.G. Preston is down there with the head coach of the Mahnomen Indians, Ken Bauman. J.G.?
Thanks, Doug. Well, Ken, Mahnomen football tends to be grinded out and move the ball on the ground, but you got the touchdown on one of those fancy pass plays.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're really taking it to us on the line of scrimmage defensively. They're just quicker and tougher than heck in there, and we've got to find some way to neutralize. We got to get some hats on some green shirts someplace along the line of scrimmage a little better than we have the first half.
Did you expect this to be such a low-scoring game?
Well, I don't know. Both teams, obviously can put points on the board, but I think both teams have displayed over the year their defenses are pretty fair, and they've shown that here.
Thanks, Ken. Good luck in the second half. Let's go back upstairs.
We are at halftime at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. Prep Bowl 8, the Class C title game, and it's 7-0 Mahnomen. We'll be right back. We are back at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. It is Prep Bowl 8 on Receptive Channel 9, our Class C title game. Just about set for the second half with the Mahnomen Indians leading the Waterville Elysian Buccaneers by a score of 7-0. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to have you aboard with us. High above the Metrodome, he's Jim Gilliland. I'm Doug McLeod, and somewhere down on the sidelines, J.G. Preston. Well, we've had a good football game in terms of real good hitting and some good trench work between these two football teams.
A surprising football game, and of course the score favors Mahnomen, and the stat that jumps out at me, 0 for 5 in passing for Waterville Elysian, a team that has one receiver who caught 53 balls and had 23 touchdowns during the season. So Mahnomen has done what they've had to do, and they were able to get that turnover and touchdown just before intermission. And of course, again, it's north against south, as in the 9-man game, where St. Clair, representing the southern portion of the state, took Albrook by a score of 47-12. Waterville Elysian, Waterville just 6 miles from Morristown, in case you don't know where it is, against Mahnomen, and they're located 80 miles east of Fargo. And there's the pass for our only score of the first half.
Jason Oakland to Dean Burdick, and that play was set up after Oakland intercepted a pass of Waterville Elysian. Turned it around. It happened with only 9 seconds left in the first half. A 10-yard touchdown pass from Jason Oakland to Dean Burdick. The kick was successful, and that made it 7-0, and that's where we are right now with Mahnomen in the saddle.
Sure, if John Bakken had one play back, it would be the one he called with 30 seconds to play in the half that led to the interception. Not that it was a bad call, but the faulty execution caused the turnover and led to that touchdown. Ken Bauman has to be satisfied with getting the upper hand so late in the half.
He's been there since 1969. You know, the first year Ken Bauman came to that program, the team went 1-6-1. But since then, the Indians have had 20 consecutive winning seasons. They're 13-0 coming into today's game. The other side of the field, John Bakken, who has had his troops really going at it here in the early going. In fact, you heard Ken Bauman telling J.G. Preston at halftime, yeah, we got a touchdown. They're really taking it to us up on the line. You saw that they tried to go outside, but John Bakken's got his Buccaneers really going at it down there in the trenches. So both these teams very well coached. Both these teams have certainly had some successes in recent. This is the year that Waterville Elysian needed to get in and get going to it. This was the year that they had hoped to come back with that hardware. To do it, they'll have to spoil the perfect season so far of the Mahnomen Indians.
John Bakken says in case you're wondering, he has no relatives in Minnesota. All the Bakkens that he knows are from North Dakota. I'm from St. Paul. We have a lot of Bakkens.
How many Bakkens, I was going to say, can there be in the state of Minnesota?
Got a lot of them.
Thousands of them.
And he says North Dakota, so some of his friends are no doubt watching on KTHI in Fargo as well.
So we're just about set to go for the third quarter. We have a lot of action yet to go today. The Class B game will follow this one. We'll have the A-Tilt and the big AA finale tonight between Stillwater and the Burnsville Braves.
There's not really a lot of options. Ken Bauman said that his team was losing the battle at the line of scrimmage, his offensive line at least, and that had to change. But there's not much you can do in terms of changing personnel. These are the guys who got you here, and they're just going to have to tighten those belts a little bit and decide that they're going to be the ones who move instead of the opposition. Oh, Waterville Elysian kicks it away.
Dave Gleason will take the kick. It will land and bounce and be some trouble here. Finally tipped by Jeremy Oakland across the 20 and brought down inside the 25-yard line by John Riley, who came in with 59 tackles and a fumble recovery on the year. John Riley, number 60, one of the linebackers, and on special teams as well, obviously, for the Waterville Elysian Buccaneers.
It's not only the lights that cause problem for the kick returners who haven't played indoors up until now. It's the turf. They don't play on the artificial surface. The ball takes a lot stranger hops, and when the ball bounces, sometimes you see them rush in, and not anticipating that big hop, and it's caused problems for both teams.
It is 1st and 10 for Mahnomen. The ball on its own 24-yard line. Second half just underway. The delay, fumble, and it's recovered by Waterville Elysian as Boston Taylor, number 23, scooped it up with a good shortstop move on the bounce and brought it back to the 18-yard line.
Well, he picked that ball right out of the air so he can return it. As you'll see, another good stick up close to the line of scrimmage caused this fumble. There's nowhere for that man to run, even though they pulled it out. Well, the exchange actually caused that fumble. I was looking at the fullback, but the second man through did not get a clean handoff from Jason Oakland. The ball just popped right in there, and it was returned into great field position by Atherton.
Now the play to the fullback, Matt Sorensen, got across the 15-yard line, and he might have had some trouble with it. Bob Bjorky, the linebacker, put him down, and we have a player down on the field for Mahnomen.
I'm sure Waterville Elysian felt it was their own fault that they were behind at halftime. They wanted to come out and do something positive to turn it around here right away. They've got good position now.
We'll be back with 11:05 to go in the third quarter. Mark Bogley was roughed up on the play, number 58, one of the Mahnomen linebackers. He'll be all right. 11:05 to go in the third quarter. It is 7-0 Mahnomen, and Waterville Elysian now with the ball on the Mahnomen 13. It is 2nd down and 5. Chris Gross, wide receiver left. They'll go to Toston Taylor up the middle and got to about the 11-yard line before he was stopped by Roy Bjorky, number 32.
Straight ahead the plunge, thinking definite 4-down territory here. If you can get half of it, and they got more than half of it now, they have to negotiate that last 2 yards.
Ball just over the 10-yard line, just about to the 11. Ball at the 10. It is 3rd down and 2 for Waterville Elysian. Toston Taylor wrapped up as he came to the line by Earl McDougal. Fumble, and
no fumble, I think.
Nope, it was after the whistle. Keith Kirsch jumped in on it, but the whistle had already been blown. The ball was dead. There is no fumble, but certainly no running room either for Toston Taylor.
And there's the danger of the deep handoff. You see that time Taylor hit before he had a chance to get anything started. Excellent defensive play by McDougal. We've called his name a number of times this afternoon.
Ace punt.
5'11", 210-pound senior. Now it's 4th and 5, and a very different call for John Bakken and the Buccaneers.
Now the ball spotted at the 8-yard line of Mahnomen. I'm sorry, at the 13-yard line. 4th and 5 at the 13. Wide receiver to the right side is Brent Atherton. Knight on the left side. Deuce backfield with Knight in motion. Rocket to Knight, complete at the 8, 5, 2, and down inside the 1-yard line by Jason Oakland.
You just knew that they were going to have to get Knight the ball. They got to be looking at those glaring stats in the locker room at halftime. Set him up, set the receiver down, had him come in motion and get the angle on his defender, and a very nice catch. Good elusive move to get by Oakland and almost into the end zone.
So it's 1st and goal inside the 1-yard line. Mahnomen hoping for a big stand, but they go right through the middle. Touchdown. Waterville Elysian is on the scoreboard with 9:22 left in the third quarter. Toston Taylor and company right up the middle.
They only had a little bit of yardage to negotiate. Taylor takes it over the top, gets hit, doesn't have a lot of room, but enough to push him into the end zone by a yard or so. And now the 1-point conversion will be attempted. And if it's successful, it will be a tie game.
Dave Gleason, number 10, will kick. It's a trick play. Corey Knight will throw on a halfback pass, and it is just short at the 2-yard line, intended for Chad Atherton, but Dean Burdick, the cornerback, had him covered on the play. The fireworks are popping now early in the second half. It's 7-6 Mahnomen.